folks, so welcome to another belated Wednesday on Natalie's Sofa. I'm actually recording this on Wednesday, but it's probably going to be Thursday by the time you're watching this. So it's been busy, but we've been waiting for the release of the Lumix LUT app. I think what's it called? I've got it down here. Lumix Lab, it's called. I'm going to have to look down at my phone as I check this because I've literally, it's just come out the day. But more on that in a minute. I thought we'd go over another hidden announcement. We know that Reala Ace is coming to the X-T5, XS20 and all X-Processor 5 cameras for Fujifilm. But it's a summer firmware update. Well, for those of you who actually shoot RAW, quite ironically, it's available now. Because if you go to Lightroom, you can actually assign the Reala Ace profile to any of your RAW files on the X-T5. And I presume the XS20, haven't tried it, but I'll give it a go and I'll post on my community page. But I did put a little poll up on the YouTube community page as well to see if you could guess which one was Reala Ace of my images. And when I did because I did a Christmas Reala Ace special when I did a film simulation before I even knew Reala Ace was coming. And a couple of you did get a chance to answer the poll, and you were both right. You guessed the real Reala Ace. Well, the Lightroom Reala Ace. The picture that you didn't vote for was the simulation I did. Boo! I think it was fairly close, and by all means, have a look at the images on the community tab and comment below how close you thought the film simulations were. I have to say I do prefer Reala Ace. I think it's going to be my new favourite film simulation. I'll certainly be looking towards trying to create a look in the Lumix LUT app that we're talking about shortly. And certainly I might do a recording on the XS20 in the Reala Ace format rather than what we do now, which is record on the Lumix S5, because I want to see what it's like. It's kind of like classic chrome, but more punchy colours, yet the blacks are even more crushed. That's how I'd describe it in a nutshell very briefly. I like the look, very journalistic, and I like sort of journalistic-y type images. So I'll quickly bring them up on the screen now, the two pictures, so you can see what I was talking about. And I will label them accordingly so that you can see which one is my film simulation that I guessed what Reala Ace would be before I even knew it was coming out. But when it was announced on the, I think one of their medium format cameras that came out with it. And I think it was a GFX 102, something like that, one of those ones. And the other picture will be the actual RAW file for the same image, slightly different crop. I couldn't get exactly the same. But it's a RAW file that I took from the same JPEG. And I've just applied exposure corrections because it was slightly underexposed, the image. But other than that, other than correcting exposure, it's just the Reala Ace profile, done. And see what you think. Which do you like? Do you like Reala Ace? Do you like the custom one? Saying that, we don't need to do a custom Reala Ace anymore. It exists. Anyway, moving on from Fujifilm, Reala Ace, which will have that firmware update, I'm sure, very soon. There's been a lot of controversy about the new Lumix S9 camera, and specifically the lab app the Lumix Lab app we talked about. I think there's a lot of people in the Panasonic Lumix community who are professional shooters who seem to be of the opinion that Panasonic can't branch out towards a camera that has an app that applies LUTs to get the fun of film simulations. And as we know from a lot of the people who follow my channel because of Fujifilm, a lot of you are fans of film simulations. And the first question I'd have to you actually is, you enjoy your film simulations? If you had a Lumix camera, you had something similar but with an app, and you were allowed to just edit your JPEGs in the camera to give looks, and then you could send those looks to the camera so that you could also apply them in camera when you took pictures. Would you enjoy doing that? You know, in exactly the same way that you apply a film simulation now as a Fuji shooter. So let's take a deeper dive at the app, because I've managed to do some screenshots of what the app can do. So I'm going to bring up the app now, and essentially you add your photos in. Now at the moment it will let you download, it only supports the S9, and I can't show the integration because I have an S5 too. But what you can do is you can pull images in and you can add a folder to it so that you can see images and you can do edits to them. Now, I don't know if they're going to add support for RAW files, and part of me would say I would love to have RAW file support. But the profiles are baked into the JPEGs anyway as well, so if you take a picture in the natural profile on the Lumix camera, the app knows. And RAW files would give more latitude for sure in the editing, but I'm not sure that a novice or somebody just who likes to have fun with the camera would want to bother with the RAWs. Yet you can import them, so maybe that's a future thing for the S5 too. At the minute, you can only apply the LUTs to the in the app to a JPEG, and I don't know if that's an oversight or whether it's by design. That's something we'll have to pick up at a later date. But aside from that, the app's functional. So once you've added your gallery in, which is quite easy to do, you just allow it access to your gallery on your phone. Pick the folder that you've transferred your images to. On the S9, I imagine this will be a bit easier, but on Lumix cameras, the way it puts the folder on some cameras' phones is a bit of a problem. I had to move my folder, but I'm digressing. I'm hoping on the S9 camera it's a bit smoother. But we can go in, you would pair your camera up. I can't, but you can pair the camera. And then once you've gone in, you would go into a picture, and all the LUTs that you've got here, you can apply as different styles. So you literally just scroll to the LUT you want along the bottom, and you'll see that there are some built-in ones that they've put in, that Lumix have provided. And equally, there are some that I've added myself as well. And some of these are LUTs I've created myself. So there's a tools option, and you can go into the tools option, and then there you can actually play with the curves and the exposure and the color balance and the white balance, and generally it's similar to any smartphone Instagram-y type app. But you can then save out the image as a copy, and more crucially, you can save that look as your own LUT, and it tells you what picture style that LUT is designed for. So as long as you import a picture taken in Cine D, then you can apply a LUT to Cine D. That's kind of how it works. That's how you know you can apply LUTs to different images that were done in, say you had one, you create a profile for a LUT for Cine D, but you were going to apply it to natural. Might look a bit odd, but you can do it, and then you could tweak it, and then you could save it out. And what's really cool, which I wasn't sure it would have, you can send them to the S9. I'm presuming that support will come to the S5 too, and so on. But you can also just share them to your OneDrive, your Google Drive, save them to your handset. And because you can do that, they'll save as .cube files. Now, for those who don't know what a cube file is, a LUT, when you save it, saves as a file called a .cube file. It's a file called mylut.cube, for example, or summervibes.cube if you were doing a summer vibe LUT. And the fact that you can save it means that you can put it on an SD card, which means even though there's not support, and I've got to try this, I just haven't had time, but I'm going to try this, and I'll do a follow-up video, I think, because it's going to take time to go through all this. It's a lot to digest. You can technically apply those LUTs in camera to an S5 II and an S5 IIX, because they can have LUTs from an SD card, and they can store, I think it's up to 10 LUTs, I think it is. Up to 10, maybe a bit more. They can store a certain number of LUTs, not as many as the S9 can, but they can store those LUTs, which means there's a way of getting them onto the other Lumix cameras. Now, I do understand from the Lumix, I'll link the page that they've put on their website. It's got more info on, but they do seem to indicate on that page, Lumix or Panasonic, that integrated support is coming for the other cameras. But I'm really pleased that you can export the LUT. And I like playing with the LUTs. And the other crucial thing about exporting them is I can do a look that I can then apply to a video. Now, I do colour grading, but equally when I'm doing these videos, as I've explained in the previous episode, I don't colour grade this very much. I might very slightly tweak it if there's something not right, or the exposure's a bit off because I'm looking at a little monitor here. I've only got a monitor, like it's another smartphone to use as a monitor. And I use that to get the exposure right. And I've got what's called my waveforms. And I set my waveforms and white balance and my ISO. Done it right this time. Forgot last week. So everything's on manual. So I should get a consistent looking camera. But if I haven't, then I can tweak it. But now I can go, well, I'm recording in natural and I've done a LUT on the app and I really like the look of how it comes out. I'm going to record my video in natural, but with that LUT, and I can get that LUT straight onto an SD card and onto my camera straight away. That's what I like about it. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of creators don't have time to edit. Why don't I have time to edit? Because I didn't leave the office at work today till 6:30. And then by the time I got home, made a meal, tidied up the kitchen, etc., etc., it was 10 o'clock and we're nearly 10 past 10 UK time for me getting into finally setting up the studio and doing a recording. And I haven't got time to play around with colour grading on these videos. If I'm doing something extra special, absolutely I'll colour grade and I'll record in log. But for these videos that have to be out quick, I love the concept of that. And this is what the S9 appeals to. And I'm going to do another episode on the camera itself. Probably middle of the month, because I've got a tryout day at one of the local camera stores, Wex, I believe, on the 6th. So I want to go down and try the camera out. It's the only opportunity I'll get because I can't afford to buy one yet unless I traded my S5 II in, and I'm reluctant to do that because I would miss a lot of the features from the S5 II. The S5 II is my stills camera and the S5 IIX is my video camera. And if I swapped out my stills, I am sacrificing a lot for the lightweight. But equally, if I was traveling, that's why I like the S9. But I digress. I think I'd like to go into that in a separate, the actual camera itself, in a separate video. It'd be lovely if I could get a loaner from Lumix. I'll do a long-term review for Lumix. And it'll be on my own opinion, believe me. I'm critical where criticism is needed. And I could criticize the camera, but we'll reserve that for a separate video. So going back to the app, that's how you can edit them. You can save them out. You can transfer them to your camera with the app or with files. It's great. You can also go to a LUT page where the predefined LUTs exist, and you can scroll down and organize your LUTs. But also there's a download tab. And on the download tab, we've got lots of creator LUTs and trending LUTs. Now, I would imagine you'll be able to submit your LUTs at some point. I couldn't see where you could do that. It seems to be limited to just creators at the minute. But I would imagine at some point they'll add in sharing. But what it means is I can go to the creator tab. And not all the creators, I don't think, have had a chance. But I said Emma Lowry, who is Micro for Nerds, great channel, you should follow that. She's put some on, and there's 4 ones on there, and I just clicked on them and it just downloads them, and you can apply them as a look. So I think they're pushing it a lot with creators to go, oh, this is what you can do. What I'd like to see in the app, which doesn't appear to be apparent, is the ability for a mortal like myself, I exaggerate, the ability for you and I to also share them, which we can do through exporting the file, but it's like whether we can submit them to a repository where they get rated and you can search for them and put meta words and keywords on them so that you can look them up. I think that would be great, so people can actually have not just a repository of creators, but a repository of, you know, overall creators and everyone else, the community. Maybe that's coming. Maybe I missed something in the app, but I couldn't see a community tab. But hopefully there will be that. We'll just have to see. It's very early days, so I'm not going to criticize it too heavily on that, but it did seem to be missing that. But as I say, maybe that's coming, and that you will be able to share them to a community. And that's pretty much it for the app. You can edit the ones you download. Yes, Rosie, you can. That's my cat just saying, are you enjoying it as well? She hasn't a clue what I'm talking about. So you can download a creator alert from one of the content creators, one of the well-known YouTubers, and you can edit that. Or you can edit your own, and you can create your own, and you can save them out. As I say, I can't really show you what, I don't have an S9, so I can't say what the integration's like, but certainly you can export them to whatever your phone supports. And then obviously you can get them onto your OneDrive or something, or your Google Drive, or your Dropbox, or the phone itself. Like my phone can send Bluetooth to my computer, and then I can get it on an SD card. There's many ways you can get it off, so you can absolutely share it that way. And that means people could put them on their website. So if you've got a website and you go, I've created these looks, and you want to say, click here to download them, you could do that. So that's brilliant. Really love the way it works. So far, I think for the new audience of sort of JPEG shooters, essentially that they're trying to tap into, I think this app is trying to do that. And I think it's got a fair chance of doing it. Because I'd love a film simulation app for Fuji, which is kind of what we're lacking, because it's all done in camera. Whereas if I could download my pictures and apply film simulations in camera, that'd be great. I'd enjoy that for just the fun of it. But you see, this is the thing. I'm technically a semi-professional photographer, but I'm just an amateur when it comes to videography or cinematography, whatever you want to call it. I just do it for fun. I don't get paid for it, but with photography, I've had the odd job where it's a professional job, and I'm starting to get more. But I'm a photographer first, and when I'm having fun, it is nice to shoot in JPEG, and I think having a system like this would give me the confidence to shoot raw plus JPEG and enjoy the fun and the looks I get straight out of the camera, versus not doing any editing at all. Because if I can just shoot with a good exposure and then apply my lovely signature look to it, I'll be like, that'd be great. Because it's a lot easier to just whack on a LUT than it is download it, take it into Snapseed or Lightroom mobile and start faffing around with profiles and look. Whereas I can just pull it into an app and go, oh, bang, that one, oh, brilliant, I like that. And then output it onto social media. That's appealing. That's also appealing to give, if you're on a shoot and you want to show the client a very quick preview of your look, JPEGs are good for that. You just pull out a JPEG, put it on the camera, apply the look, say, this is what it's going to look like. There you go. So there are professional applications, as it were. But I can see where the pros are coming from. They've had Lumix sold at them as a professional, and they don't see the point of it. But cameras are having a bit of a renaissance, and more people are enjoying them. And I think that's good for the camera industry. I think people have learned the limitations of smartphones, and smartphones are better as a medium for manipulating the pictures and sharing them. They're not always so good at taking them. They just have limitations, and I think people genuinely want cameras again. And I think the S9 kind of addresses that, because if I look at it as a fun camera that I can use for, you know, it can still do landscapes, and I think it doesn't need electronic shutter, anything that's not sensitive to rolling shutter. In photography, it's great. It'll be fine for short clip recordings, but obviously I can't record long clips like I'm doing here to camera. This is why I use an S5 IIX, because it's got unlimited recording, because it can record ProRes, which is dead easy to edit. All of these things I wouldn't do. But if I was on holiday, on a campsite, on my motorbike, and I thought that it was a bit too much to carry the S5 IIX and a massive 24-105 lens, I might just take the 18-40 lens and a small S9 and stick it on a little lightweight tripod and do a fun vlog with a LUT. That's what I think the camera's for, and that's what I think a lot of people are missing. But hey, what do you guys think? I want to hear from as many people as possible. Please do criticize my point of view. It's just my opinion. But I like to hear alternative opinions as well as agreeing opinions, because it's more food for discussion when I've had a go of the S9 and I can really give my opinion on what I think of it after having a sort of a touch and feel go of it at the camera shop in a few weeks' time. Anyway, folks, I hope that gives you a little taster of the app and gives you a grounding for what it is. And also comment below on whether you think the app is a good thing, a way forward, whether you could see this for Fujifilm as well, and whether you like this direction that cameras are going. Pros and JPEG, fun, recreational shooters alike. Catch you all later, folks. Bye.